And we are live. Oh, I still remember how to do this. Cool. What's going on, everyone? We are back with another edition of Respect the Craft. And finally, we are back as I'm joined once again. He's going to get mad at me for saying this, but I'm still going to say it anyway. He is one of the best of the light heavyweights and still what I call the best JAP light heavyweight champion. He is the innovator. He is the William H. Macy of professional wrestling and one of the minds behind Constant Pro Wrestling, Archadia. What's going on, brother?
I'm probably most proud of being the William H. Macy of professional wrestling.
When I was doing the write-up, I was like, let me search up some old JP footage just to remind myself. I was like, yep, that's what it was. Okay, we're gonna.
I just rewatched Cannonball Fest, and Effie was on commentary, and he was shocked to hear that MLJ called me the William H. Macy. He was trying to figure out what it was. He couldn't figure out why.
Oh, it's just it's. But I was like, okay, yeah, that's what it was. Cool. I think it was Modtron that they put it in. I'm like, yep, that's what it is. Here we go. Okay.
Yeah, I had a T-shirt and everything. Yeah. William H. Macy of professional wrestling.
Oh man, but that's I guess that's the perfect way to start it. How do you feel, man? It's 2 matches back now. Like, how are we? Last time we spoke, it was right before you were gonna end up making the return, and now we have the.
I mean, I wouldn't call it really a return. I did two matches, both of them, like multi-man, like didn't really have to do much, kind of just like short bursts of energy, and then relax for 5 minutes, and then fast again. I mean, but it was cool. It was cool being in front of the crowd, and there's just something about professional wrestling that when you're out there in front of people, it's just a feeling that you can't describe. And I don't know if anyone else feels this way, but I just feel like a lot of times it feels so outer body, like it's not even you that's out there. And then when you're done, you don't even remember a lot of the little tiny things that happen, because it's just surreal for most of the time you're out there.
No, definitely. It's that moment of when everything's like, okay, now, and we're off. Okay.
Yep.
What did I just do? Oh, okay. Meanwhile, again,
I always think about, I don't know if it's kind of an older movie at this point, Old School.
Yes.
When Will Ferrell answers the question and then he comes out of it, he's like, I blacked out. What happened?
It makes sense. And I've seen it with a lot of people. That's like, once that adrenaline wears off, it's like, okay, cool. So let's, we already did it. Okay. Well, let me know how it was.
Yeah. I remember we were just talking about it prior to coming on here, that the show I wrestled Joe Gacy on.
Yep.
I remember coming down from that and the adrenaline wearing off, and it had been like my first singles match in a very long time. And it was intense. I mean, Gacy is not someone that you can just take it easy with. And I just remember coming down from it and just feeling like my whole body was like in shock from just having to do something that taxing on the body, and having not done it in a long time. I feel like every time I wrestle, I remind myself why I don't for a very long time, because I'm just like, I can't do this anymore.
Oh man. But before we continue, we already got Junie in the chat as well, saying the GOAT, and then calling you so modest, because of course, which I knew when asking the question, I knew it would become the, nah, it didn't do much. It's like, come on, man. That's why I also gave you the intro I did, because I'm like, he's not going to put himself over. So I got
He's talking about you, right? The GOAT?
No, he's talking about you. This is all on you. This is all on you. But no, again, it's still insane to see, and it was great to be able to watch both matches, because the last time we spoke, it was preparing for all this. There was also supposed to be another thing that, unfortunately, that pesky card subject to change comes into play, but it will happen eventually. We are gonna, we're not gonna get away without having Archadia on Respect very soon, and making.
I don't think that it is out of the realm of possibilities to feel like at least the Cannonball Fest more than the other one, because I feel like I had prepared my body more for that one.
Yeah.
I'd been in the gym every day. I was, doing a lot of cardio, lifting, get my body back in shape. And I felt pretty good during that to me, it kind of gave me that confidence boost to feel like, all right, well, maybe I do, at least if I prepare myself the right way, have the ability to at least perform every once in a while at a level that I'd still be proud of, because you always see the older guys get back into the ring and they're a shell of their former self. And I never wanted to be that. So when I did take those long breaks from wrestling, some of it was mental, just the grind gets to you, and you have to sacrifice, being on shows and the FOMO of not being around wrestling as much, to really get your brain in a spot where you feel comfortable. But also, like, just, taking those breaks allowed me to refresh my energy and want to be back in the ring.
Got you. And again, it's one of those where I know anyone that's watching this, as we have some comments there. We got my guy Archadia. We got Junie wanting you to fight him. So
No.
He's gonna be pretty busy this weekend. So but there you go. Confirming he's talking about you there, Archadia the guy.
Junie's a sweet boy. I wouldn't want to.
He's very much but I feel like that would also be a great just clash of styles right there. Because Junie's also he's been killing it. There's a reason why also, after again many conversations with you, we finally decided to make it work. Where Junie will also be at Respect on November 14th.
Yeah, I mean, I think any show that gives Junie the opportunity to do what he's the best at, he's going to thrive. And I think that's, not to segue just into constant wrestling right away, but I think that has always been my vision, is allowing people that I believe in the time and the space to do things that they believe in themselves about. And a guy like Junie, too many times in wrestling, it's the promoter's vision, and it's the promoter wants to do this and the promoter wants to do that. And really my vision is to allow the guys that I believe in to have the space to do what they believe in. And Junie's exactly, a prime example of that. Is I want Junie to be the best version of himself and allow him to do the things that, he wants to do, instead of me telling him what he's good at and what he should be doing.
No, definitely understood. And might as well we segue into it, because again, one of the main reasons we are here is especially to talk about this Saturday will be the second event there, as you have Constant Pro Wrestling presenting All the Pieces Matter. And let's talk about that again. The decision to again continue it here, to bring Constant Pro Wrestling back and get the second event up and running here.
I mean, it's kind of selfish. I mean, I enjoy, I enjoy, and I think I mentioned this to you last time, that my drive for wrestling shows is to selfishly surround myself with the people that I want to see wrestle in situations that I want to see them wrestle in. And I always kind of use the metaphor of, you're invited to a birthday party, there's a lot of friends that you have there, but it's not your group of friends. It's, some of them and some of them here and some of them there. But when you're running the show, it's your birthday party, and everyone's there because you want them to be there. And that's the kind of way I feel about promoting my own shows, is that, yeah, you go to shows, you go to, Respect, you go to, Titan, you go to whatever shows you go to, and, you're going to have a mix of people that you enjoy. But when you do it on your own and you run it on your own, then it's my birthday party. It's the guys that I want to be around. It's the wrestlers that I enjoy. That's kind of how I look at it.
Gotcha. No, and I feel like that's been the similar approach to this that I've tried to take as well, because it's one of those of, what if this was done? Because this hasn't happened. And this is what I enjoy, just taking that mentality of also having that fun with it. And I think that's something we've also discussed, of being able to have very similar mentalities when it comes to what's creating these shows. Like, again, the business side of it isn't the biggest part of me why I'm doing this either. It's one of those of, hey, we're getting to have these amazing nights with a lot of people we enjoy being around.
Yeah, it's not very often that you can, put your vision of something or put something that you believe in out into the world artistically. and especially in the, I guess in the arena, for a lack of a better word, that you want to, like I can't draw, I can't sing, can't dance, I can't write. Like I'm not a writer. Like, so when it comes to art, the only thing I've ever been good at, or the only thing I've ever felt confident in, is my ability to wrestle and to kind of, find out what could work. And now it's just translated or transferred itself into being someone who gets other people to do it instead of me doing it myself.
Gotcha. No, I think that's again, and it reflects because you see who you have on these amazing cards again when it went from show 1 to now show 2, and we're definitely gonna get into that process of the matches now in a little bit.
That's my favorite part of talking to you is the process of putting people together and how the matches were created and what I expect from them.
Yeah. No, and that's the best part, because it's one of those where and it's funny because I just had to do one of those this past week, getting to be asked about that. And I'm like, oh, finally I get to now explain that too. The method to the madness here, like we like to say, like and it's just the most intriguing part of it all. But look at that, as we have Queste Asante in the chat, this Saturday is going to be crazy. It definitely is. It definitely is. And we have that graphic to talk about in a little bit. But let's get into that as we start with this matchup right here, brought to you by our friends at Wrestling and Recovery, with a little bit of a showcase, as we have this matchup right here featuring TJ Blade, who's also someone I feel like you know very well. I don't know why, but I feel like you and TJ know each other very well. Mike Massacre as well as BT Bull. Let's discuss this one a little bit here.
So it is a Wrestling and Recovery showcase. It is the Community Outreach Championship. TJ Blade is the current champion and holds on to it. TJ is also my partner in Constant Wrestling. So giving not only is TJ my partner, but also we are Constant Wrestling is partnering with Wrestling and Recovery. If anyone doesn't know what they do, they're a great organization that combines trying to get people through whatever addictions they have, or recovering from any mental things that they have going on, and they do that through wrestling shows and giving them an outlook or an outlet that is something that they can enjoy, be a part of, but also have a serious side to it. And they've been pretty successful over the last couple of years in running, not only in this area, but they're starting to branch out. They did College of New Jersey and down in TCNJ, and they were they do a lot of the some of the county fairs and things, and they just have been getting momentum and building. And I think giving them a spot on our show, regardless of the affiliations of who's involved with it, I think it's a good thing because of what they stand for and what they believe in. But as far as the match is concerned, for anyone that doesn't know, although their names do not match, BT Bull and TJ Blade have a very long history together, as they grew up in the same house. And then Mike Massacre is, again, someone they all started with. They all are very familiar with each other. At points, they've been very good friends, and at points, they've been pretty big enemies. So I'm excited not only to give them the platform to do it on Constant, but also to see it, because I think it's going to be very fun to watch. Anytime you can get anyone in the ring that has that much history together and that much chemistry together, it's going to be good.
Oh, definitely. And again, this is one of those where you love to see that collaborative effort being able to be shared on the platform there. And I know it's going to be one that a lot of people are going to be looking forward to, especially with that collaborative effort. But from that, there's another, even if it wasn't intentional, we got a little bit of collaboration, as I mentioned JAP earlier, with this next matchup, as it goes from the good days of JAP to now to the ring at Constant Wrestling, as it will be the good guy, the bad guy, depending on who you ask, Azrael going head to head with Eddie Thomas. Let's talk about this one, how it came to be for 2025 in Constant Wrestling.
It was scheduled for our first show.
Okay.
I still have the graphic that I made, and then Eddie Thomas tore his ACL in a UWA match, and before we even could release the graphic that they were going to be wrestling each other, you know, he had to back out of the show, and you know, he's in the best shape of his life, and he was making a lot of positive changes, and you know, it really set him back in terms of athletically what he was like, had the momentum to push him forward to becoming. But he's Eddie Thomas has done a great job at recovering from it, and you know, thriving in being back and being a 40-something-year-old guy trying to recover from a torn ACL is not easy, and he's done it with, you know, strength and grace. And he is a hugely underrated secret of a wrestler. When we say consistency in the ring, I mean, I've been telling him for the last 20 years how much I'm a fan of what he does. And just because, you know, he might not have all of the bells and whistles and all, you know, the indie love, because he hasn't done all these crazy shows, doesn't mean he isn't capable of doing amazing things in the ring. And the person that could probably bring the most of that out of him is someone that they started together.
Yeah.
And then Azrael went pretty much where we thought Eddie Thomas could have gone, but never did. You know, Azrael is a household name. And if you don't know who he is, then where have you been?
I was going to say, yeah. What
are you doing? You know, if I say the name Azrael and you don't know it, I don't like you. Because there isn't another person on the planet that I would say has been as consistent and as high performing as Azrael has been in this area. Like, he's just, the dude doesn't miss. Like, I've never seen an Azrael match where I've been like, I didn't really like it. You know, yeah. He is always on. He is always intense. He is always high pace. And he tried to tell me the last time I saw him, oh, well, I don't wrestle the style that I used to because I'm getting older. And then he goes out there and he puts on like such an amazing performance. And I'm like, yeah, okay. Like, who's this guy trying to tell me that he doesn't do amazing things still? Like, that's probably, I mean, I'm probably going to say this every time you ask me about a match, but like, each single match has a sentimental reason why I can't wait to see it happen. Yeah. Eddie Thomas, because, you know, he's never been in a singles match with Azrael, and they've known each other and started together 25 years ago. So, you know, like, I'm just super excited to see that match for both of them, because I think it's going to be an unbelievable performance.
Gotcha. And I feel like, again, it goes back to, like we were saying, the reason why these matches are put together and why this is done the way it is. You're going to have that actual, again, the deeper meaning behind it than just, let's put two guys in there in a match, you know?
Yeah, I don't think I could ever do that. I don't think I could ever run a show and just put two people together, or put, you know, two teams together and just say, oh, well, let's just throw them together and see what happens. Yeah. There is, you know, an immense level of thought put into every, you know, combination.
Yeah. As it should be. Again, this is for anyone listening as well, because we do have a nice amount of people watching. Take these notes, ladies and gentlemen. Take these notes.
They're watching because they're wondering why you haven't been here in such a long time, and they're excited to see your face.
I don't think it's for me. I think we have to, again, thank you for the draw here, and thank you for the audience. This is all for Archadia here.
That might have been the first time in 25 years anyone's ever referred to me as a draw. Ever.
This is why, again, in all of our conversations, it's always, I can't do it. It's either you or a common friend of ours that I can never put over without the modesty coming out. But we're going to continue here with another matchup, as it will be Corey Dillinger going head to head with Malik Del Vante. Someone else that, again, I have to admit, after various conversations, I also decided to bring over to Respect Wrestling.
Malik Del Vante?
Yes.
Yeah, the dude is awesome. I mean, he's unbelievable. I think the only person that doesn't know how awesome he is him. Like, and it's weird to say that for a guy who calls himself the definition of debonair, but like through conversations with him, and maybe it's just, he's trying to maintain a level of humility outside of the ring.
Yeah.
I truly don't think he understands how good he can be, and that he's got that spark. He's got everything you need to be successful in the wrestling business. And I just hope that he sticks with it, and he really leans into who he is as a performer. And on the other side, Corey Dillinger is everything you would want in a structurally built human being for the wrestling business. Like, he is a powerhouse. He will throw you around. He's super athletic, charisma to the nines. Like, he's just, and what I love about this matchup is two things. Number one, I think this is something they both really wanted, to be able to be in the ring together. And you could see that I'm not sure if you saw Corey's video that he made and we released on the Constant Wrestling Instagram, but he's been looking forward to this matchup because he knows what Malik can do. And, it's not only a test for Corey, but it's also, it's like a measuring stick. Malik's starting to build his name up a little bit. Corey's a different style. So, like, which style wins out? Is it going to be the big man that is going to punish you? Or is it going to be, the fast paced, flashy, kind of like fast moving guy? And I love matchups like this because I love clashing styles as much as I like clashing personalities. I think personality wise, they're both very similar in how they present themselves, but the strategies that they take in the ring are completely different. And I can't wait to see how that plays out.
Definitely. I was going to say, the minute I saw the graphic, I'm like, you definitely see it's going to be a very clash of styles. Definitely the idea of how can the fast pace possibly go at it with, again, a powerhouse like Corey. That's going to be interesting to see. I can't wait.
Yeah, and I think Corey's super excited I think the passion that he has for this match came out in the video that he released.
Gotcha. There you go. So again, if you guys haven't already, make sure you're following Constant Pro Wrestling on all of their social media so you can see that promo and all the content that is being released as we get ready for this Saturday. Again, that's going to be right there, Constant_Wrestling, also on X at WrestleConstant right there. But there's still some more matches we got to discuss. So let's get into this one that it's perfect because it is going to be a very chaotic one. So let's go into it as you have 6 amazing talent going at it there. As you have Joey Silver, Matt Vertigo, Pat Dynamite, Mike Seaway, Ron Voyage, and that dreaded evil Kip Stevens. Let's get into this one because I definitely want to hear how this was put together.
So this to me is for the fans in terms of, like, I think there's 6 guys in this match, but each one of them is completely different from the other one. Like, none of them are similar at all. And, but that's what I love about, giving each, not to pull the curtain back too much, but like to give each person the ability to really show the crowd who they are, because none of them are going to be outshined by the other because they don't do any of the same similar stuff. So my favorite part of this is that each of them is going to have the ability to really separate themselves from the other one by doing what they do best. And what they do best is not what any of the rest of them do best. Mike Seaway is the flexecutioner. He squats for days and he's all about his glutes, and he's all about being the girthy gladiator, which is the worst nickname I've ever heard in my entire life, which I sometimes refuse to even say, but he likes it, and he calls himself the One Fit Wonder. So, he's about the physique. Ron Voyage, everyone, if they didn't see the first show, has a victory over Homicide on the first show. Party, fun-loving, likes to get the crowd involved, likes to be creative, likes to play mind games by being creative and getting the crowd involved. And very underrated and slept on as far as a just in-ring performer. Like, the dude can go. Evil Kip Stevens, staple of independent wrestling. Evil to the evil to the max, scared of what kind of evil is going to come out of him in a match like this. Pat Dynamite, again, no one like him in this match. On the last show, got in there with Speedball Mike Bailey, and for almost 30 minutes was toe to toe and step for step with him. And in my opinion, hands down, match of the night. Like, no one was close. Like, Jay and Griffin was great. But in terms of expectations and what we got out of it, like, Pat was amazing. And, like, he can show off his ability to do things in the ring that other guys can't, in this match. And then, Matt Vertigo is constantly complaining about his position in the card and where he should be. And it's honestly like, prove it, man. Like, he wrestled Junie and Sean Smith on our last show, and he performed well, but he, if he really wants to be considered one of the top guys, then he's got to step in there and he's got to prove it. So, I mean, like, it's just a matter of that for Vertigo. And then, Joey Silver is, I mean, one of the most, loved individuals I've ever seen on any level in any show. So it's a mix of guys who are loved, guys who are hated, guys who feel underappreciated. And I'm excited to see how the mix will play out and what it does for each of them as far as establishing themselves as either, mainstays on our roster or not.
It's, like I said, it definitely has that chaotic feel because it gives that platform of who will outshine, who will be a breakout star in this one, and again, who just keeps their position on the card there. So we shall see. We shall see. But we mentioned who Matt Vertigo wrestled, and he was in the chat. Hopefully he's still in, because I hope he gets to hear what you have to say about him right now, as we're talking about Junie Underwood going head to head with Tony Deppen. A nice test here for Junie Underwood in this one, because that's gonna be a barn burner right there.
Yeah, I think it's fun to be able to be a part of Junie's rise. I'm not sure he's too convinced that he's on his way up, and other people are saying it, but I'm excited to just be a little bit of part of it. When I was a part of Jersey All Pro Wrestling, and you saw guys come in and be a part of the roster for a few months, and then you wouldn't see them again because they were on TV, or at the time TNA was getting big and guys were starting to travel or go to Japan. That's what I feel like Junie is literally just waiting for a moment where people start to realize that he needs to be everywhere and on every show. Like, it's just a matter of time before that's what happens for him. And I truly believe that's where he's headed, and partly because of just how good of a human being he is. It's very rare that you have someone who is as talented as Junie, but also is that is second to how good of a human being he is. And anything that I could ever do to try to convince or to help Junie in any way, I'm going to do it. And I don't know why I would feel like putting him in the ring with a maniac like Tony Deppen would be helping him, but he asked for it, so there it is. As soon as Deppen was announced, Junie was, talking about how it's been scheduled a few times for him to be in the ring with Tony, but it's never happened. And I mean, you didn't have to twist my arm. Like, it's a perfect matchup. I think Junie's been doing some different stuff than he has in the past, where he's trying to, like, not reinvent himself, but at least, dabble in different areas of what he's trying to really find himself.
Yeah.
I think when he first started, his initial inclination in the business was to be there for the fans and have the fans embrace him and love him and get the power of the fans to help him kind of move on to the next level. Um, and I think he's starting to, dabble in different areas and not rely too much on the fan support, but believing in himself and getting it done on his own in the ring. And Tony Deppen, I mean, going back to what I said about Azrael, like the guy doesn't miss. Like he's just always on, always good. One of the best matches I've ever had in my career was against Tony Deppen at On Point Wrestling, and we had never met each other. And an hour after we met each other, we put on one of my favorite matches I've ever wrestled. So, yeah. So I mean, I can't say enough great things about Tony Deppen as well. But he's a psycho.
Yeah,
Out of his mind.
He definitely is. But again, I feel like this is truly going to be a great test for Junie and all the just amazing, again, what he's done to change up his in-ring style, but also change up his physique. And just, yeah, there's a lot of heart to that kid. And it's crazy that I now have to say that because a lot of the guys are younger than me now. Where am I getting to that point? Jesus.
Except for Azrael.
Meanwhile, he still looks like it though. Like he doesn't age. It's him and Mike Law just don't age at all.
Yeah.
Like
Rob Vegas does not age.
No, neither does he. Yeah, when I saw him at Titan, he looks the same. Yeah.
Does not age.
Oh, we got Queste saying Junie in 5. Yeah, that could be.
What does that mean?
I'll explain it after the podcast. It's
okay.
But as we continue,
I'm too old. I have no idea what any of that says. Is it a 6'7" thing? Because I don't know what that means either.
So I don't know what that one is either. We're gonna need someone to. We'll get one of the younger kids to explain it to us this weekend. It's okay.
I'm sure Junie knows.
Hopefully, but we're gonna go into this next matchup here, as it's going to be Drake Chambers going head to head with Jordan Oliver, who finally gets to make his long-awaited Constant Pro Wrestling debut. Again, unfortunately, he was originally scheduled for that first event. Unfortunately, going down with injury, but finally gets to make his long-awaited debut here. And I can imagine just what this match means to you to put this together for Saturday.
Yeah, so I mean, emotionally, this is probably the one I'm looking forward to the most because there's not two people that I've been around longer that I believe in more than these two guys. I mean, if you watched any of the Quest at all, Drake made it to the finals against Anthony Gangone, falling a little too short, but just the performance that he put on, and while I think the Quest itself is like one of those hidden gems, like if anyone were to stumble on it and watch it, they would be really impressed by not just the package and production that we put together, but the wrestling that came out of that. And I think Drake was the MVP in terms of, I don't think anyone even knew who he was before. I mean, most people probably don't even know who he is anyway, because I mean, the Quest didn't really get a lot of views. I mean, I watch it. I love it. I don't care.
Again, we've spoken about it. I thought it was a great
but Drake Chambers is a huge part of that, and I think having him or convincing him to be a part of this, because wrestling hasn't always been his number one goal. Like he's a professional outside of this in a very huge field where it's very important for him to make sure that he keeps a level head and what he does. So he doesn't have to wrestle to be successful in life. It's just something he's very, very good at. And I'm excited to see him wrestle against, what I consider to be pound for pound one of the top 10 wrestlers in the world. Like just, and I mean, I can feel people say like it's a homer pick for me that I feel like Jordan is one of the top 10. Because I pay attention to him more than I probably pay attention to other people, just because of emotionally, the connection that I've had with him. but as I always say about Jordan, like it's very rare that someone who wrestles as often as he does be able to do different things every time he's in the ring. You fall into um, repetitive things as you continue to wrestle. Like, oh, okay, like I just, I did this yesterday or last week, so I'll just do that move again. And Jordan is just not like that. He's just always trying to get better and always trying to reinvent what he does in the ring. And he is just a master strategist in the ring, and he's a master. He's just like got such a big brain for wrestling that I just get excited every time I get a chance to either talk about him or see him in the ring.
No, and it's one of those where, again, it's the sky's the limit for him, and you've seen it since the return. I've said he's been on a tear, and it's like he never left. Like,
yeah,
and only made him better.
And 10 years ago, these two were in the ring together in UWA Elite, and I was in a 6-way with them, with Matt Vertigo. It was me, Matt Vertigo, Jordan Oliver, Nicholas K, Drake Chambers, and I think, if I'm not mistaken, I don't know what he goes by now. I think he's Tarzan Duran.
Ah, okay. Yeah.
Back then, I think he was the Jersey Kid.
Yep. Sounds about right.
Yeah, and it was an excellent 6-way, and it was like Jordan's like 8th match ever.
And now I feel like he's almost at 800 at this point with the amount of matches.
But to know that Drake Chambers has been there since the beginning of Jordan and seen the evolution of Jordan, and to now see them get back into the ring where they are both at different stages of their lives and careers, like it's exciting, man. Because I just believe in both of them so much that I can't wait to see what magic they put on together.
Same. Again, it's going to be an interesting pairing to see, and just to see again how two different stages of their careers and what that can mean getting back in there this Saturday. But we could end it there. That could be it. That could be a nice card, and we could be done. But there's still one more to go. As we talked about this off the air a while back, we're talking about the idea of it, and it's finally coming into play. As this Saturday, Constant Pro Wrestling will be crowning its very first world champion, as you have 4 insane talent in there in KTB, Kwesi Asante, Griffin McCoy, and Dr. Sleep, Anthony Gangone. Talk to us about this one and the decision to bring a championship into play now.
I wasn't sure that I wanted to do a championship. I knew that I wanted to put these 4 together because I think you said it, just world-class talents, all 4 of them. And I think Kwesi is probably the least known of the 4. And I'm sure he would not refer to himself as a world-class talent, because every time I tell him he's good, he does the Archadia to me. So I think
I feel like you definitely have that connection with a lot of the talent.
I do. I do.
You take the compliment.
I do, and it wasn't, I guess, until I did a podcast a few days ago where the host, the Fight Factory Wrestling podcast, where he said, you're trying to find you in some of these guys, and I think that that's true. I think some of the times when I put matches together or choose who I'm booking, I am trying to find that version of myself, like people, maybe by giving people a shot to shine. I'm kind of like going back in time and giving myself my own opportunity to shine, and by giving people the chance to do what they do best. Maybe it's me trying to heal some wounds about not giving myself that same opportunity when I was coming up, because I don't think I ever really gave myself the opportunity to succeed as a wrestler. So maybe now, if I can do that for someone else as a promoter, I would love to have some small part in someone's career on the way up. And I do think Kwesi is really, really on the way up. And he since the last time he's been in a constant ring, he has done nothing but grow and get better and, start to branch out and be different places. Um, and then you move on to someone like Griffin McCoy, who was in the main event of our last show against Jay Lethal as a replacement for Jordan Oliver. So wasn't even supposed to be in the main event, was supposed to be in a 3-way with Pat Dynamite and Matt Vertigo. That was the original match graphic we released. And I think when Jordan went down, we were thinking about trying to find a replacement, like a big name replacement. Like, all right, well, Jordan's hurt, so who can we get to wrestle Jay Lethal? Like, what are we gonna do? And it was almost immediately that I thought, well, I don't think Griffin's ever been given an opportunity quite like, wrestling Jay Lethal, and I think he's more than capable of doing it. And he was a superstar that night. Just the poise of someone who has been doing this for 15 years in front of WrestleMania type crowds. He went out there and didn't miss a beat, man. Just was unbelievable. And I think he's earned himself everything that he ever gets in this business just by how he performed that night. And if anyone is ever questioning what he's capable of, just pop that tape in the VCR and watch that, because he was on top of his game. And then KTB is someone that I've watched grow from a 10-year-old to a, at one point, I would consider a top 25 wrestler in the world. There's just things that he can do that no one else can do. And it's very rare that you can say that about a wrestler, is that, like, in such a copycat world that professional wrestling is, how can you be different? How can you be something that someone else can't be? And KTB is that, and is capable of that, of being something that no one else can be. What he's capable of, the way his body moves, but also the intensity and passion that he brings to the ring. Like, he's just got it all. And then, a man who needs no introduction at all. And he might hate me saying this, but calling himself Dr. Sleep is ironic, because I feel like the rest of the world is asleep when they don't realize how good he is and how good he can be if he's given the opportunities to succeed. So, obviously you feel the same way, because you put him in, the main event and a championship match in your own, and, he didn't disappoint, and just like, I saw from him on the last show, we put him in a matchup to kind of like test where he was, and test the other guy that he was with, being Sean Damage Ornelas. But, I have no, I harbor no reservations in the capabilities of Dr. Sleep, Anthony Gangone. And I think sometimes the way we as promoters, or we as people who are forced to put matches together, or find different ways to bring different stories to light, could be looked at as a negative. But I have nothing but the utmost belief in Anthony Gangone as a performer. And I'm just excited to see the story unfold. I just can't wait to see what comes out of that, and how they clash personality wise, and how they clash wrestling wise, and what happens next.
It's gonna be, again, it's a lot of different personalities, different elements to this one. And this is, it's a reason it's a main event. It's one of those where
I don't think I could have put that match on the show and not have it been the main event, regardless of if it was a title match or not.
Yeah.
I just think with the level of talent in that match and being put together like that, even if it wasn't crowning a champion, it would be like de facto crowning the best guy in constant, like, even if it wasn't about a title.
Again, we will see who walks away, the inaugural constant world champion there. Who could it be? And yeah, it's gonna be a tough one. It's gonna be
It could be any of them. You know, four-way
No.
matches are crazy and unpredictable, and you never know what's going to happen. And you know, you can't depend on your own skills. You got to depend on what three other people are doing. So it's going to be fun.
Yep. Again, I said it earlier with the 6-way that was going to be chaotic. This is one that even with just 4, it's going to be.
I think it's chaotic for a different reason.
It is. This one though, it's just so many. Yeah, it's going to be.
I feel like the 6-way won't be a mangling of bodies.
Yeah.
As much as it's going to be like a clash of personalities.
Yeah, and this one definitely.
And I think this one has the capability of being a car crash of.
Yeah, especially again, not just because he's again a great friend as well or anything like that, but Gangone has been on a deeper tear as of late. Like he's more of ground and pound, more cerebral in that ring. If he could even get any more.
Yeah, I was gonna say how can the Gangone get more cerebral?
And he has, though. That's the craziest thing. And it's one of those to see this. Yeah, it's going to be interesting. But then you have, again, Kwesi, who's been on that tear as of late, even aligning himself with A Game. And they've been killing it all around as a team, but even solo killing it. And then Griffin McCoy, who going international now with bringing what it is to be top guy time. He's bringing that
back from Europe.
This is going to be a difficult one. But hey, this is why you have chosen to put them 4 together, and we will see who walks away champion. But that answers my question now. I guess there will be a third, because if we're crowning a world champion, the idea of keeping this going, I guess, is now in play.
Well, maybe I just want, maybe I just want there to be a champion just in case we ever come back. I mean, honestly, there's no plans yet. I would love to continue it, but as you know, as someone who is on the other side of things, sometimes, it's not just up to you. It's got to be a perfect storm of putting things together.
No, it definitely, again, now definitely seeing it. It's like, I would love to at times to just keep saying, yeah, we'll be back in this and this, but there's definitely a lot of moving parts, a lot of elements. And also, again, not just putting together matches to put together matches. That's going to be the biggest thing of everything, having that meaning and making it make sense when it is going to happen.
Yes, sir.
I do have one more question, because especially we brought it up earlier. Is the idea of another season of the Quest ever out of the picture now?
Yeah, I mean, right now I think we're focusing on the constant brand. Yeah. But I think building up the constant brand and getting some momentum behind that could lead to having the ability to do it again. Because I wouldn't want, and I don't want to make it sound like the first season was a waste, because it wasn't. It was great. I think it stands up as being excellent. But in terms of like what we can get out of it, I don't know what we can get out of it without first building up the constant brand first, and then maybe revisiting, and then maybe doing some like Quest qualifying matches and stuff like that on our own shows. I think, or like just having it be like a part of constant within, not having to do it the way we did it the last time. But, I'm still a true believer in the formula of, giving a rating to a wrestler based on how they perform, and that it's not just about wins and losses, and it's about, like how you actually perform what you're doing in the ring. So yeah, I would not, I mean, I've made fantasy lists in my brains of people who I would want to be a part of a second season, and you can probably guess who it would be based on, who I'm booking for Constant Wrestling.
I would assume a few, and I feel like there's a few more, at least we've talked about, that I feel like possibly make their way into it. And a few I would recommend this time around, because I've gotten to now watch it from the different angle that it's like, they just need that little bit of a push. But again, that's conversations when the red light isn't on. But again, before I let you go, I want to make sure, if everyone hasn't already, please go and follow Constant Pro Wrestling on all their social media. That's going to be constant_wrestling on Instagram, at WrestleConstant on X right there. And if you haven't already, make sure you get your tickets for this Saturday's All the Pieces Matter at tinyurl.com/constant1018 for the date. See, he kept it simple. I decided to do the whole, let's add a whole thing there with my tickets. I was like, I'm gonna just start putting the date. That's it. Just here you go. Here's our next show. There you have it again. Archadia, thank you so much for joining me, brother. It's a pleasure always to get to talk to you here, and wouldn't be a better way to revamp this and bring back.
No, I'm glad to be here. I'm always happy to be here. I'm thankful for everything you've ever done for every brand and every version of what I've tried to give to the wrestling world. You've always been a great supporter, and I truly do appreciate that.
No, anytime, man, and always. And again, guys, as always, don't forget to be wise, be genuine, be real, be better people, respect the craft. And we'll see you guys on the next one. Peace, everybody. There you go.